Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. My name is Jen. I am a PhD researcher, writer, vlogger, disability support worker from Ireland living in Dublin, and I wanted to slip in a little introduction because I didn't introduce this vlog when I actually filmed it, which I think I explain in a little bit, but instead I immediately launch into it. But today this vlog is a day in which I decided to go to County Meath in Ireland and visit Newgrange and the Hill of Tara. Newgrange and the Hill of Tara are really important historical and kind of mythical sites, I guess, in Ireland. But I'd never been. I guess it's just something that I've always missed doing. Newgrange is a prehistoric ritual site from about 5,000 years ago, I think. I think it's older than the pyramids, and it kind of highlights, I guess, how advanced Ireland's prehistoric culture was in terms of its role as a passage tomb. And then there's the Hill of Tara, which is also nearby, and that is a really important historical and ceremonial piece in Ireland because it's where the High Kings of Ireland were crowned. But I wanted to slightly introduce, I guess, why I'm going there today. I decided to go because I'm currently writing a middle grade novel. At this point when I was filming, I hadn't actually started it properly, but a large portion of it takes place in Newgrange, or is centred around Newgrange. I've always had a fascination with passage tombs, also Ireland's history around connecting passage tombs to our mythology, like the fairy forts and the fairy folk and things like that. So I'm having a really good time writing about a middle grade novel, which is about a 12-year-old boy. It's not set in Newgrange, but it is set mostly in Meath, and a large part of the action takes place in Newgrange, so it kind of felt strange not to have visited it, I guess, but be trying to describe it. Newgrange is a really important place for sun's alignment on the winter solstice and is really beautiful. It's really hard to get into though. I think you can fit maybe like 12 people in there on the day of the winter solstice to watch this incredible alignment of the sunrise. And it's like a raffle every year and a lottery to see who gets it, and I think about like 30,000 people go for it every year, which is crazy. So chances of me actually ever seeing it on the winter solstice were really small, but I really wanted to see it kind of accurately, to see what it looked like in its glory. And it was a really dry and crisp day on the day I went, thankfully, to see what it was like, so that when I'm describing it I would at least have that feeling of what it's like. So yeah, that is the context, and it's really a writing / interest motivation as to why I'm doing it. It's so cold. We're outside Newgrange and waiting to be let into the tomb. There's no filming inside, but it is the 1st of November and it is a beautiful day. It's just stunning here. It feels different here. It feels very, very different, but it's really, really nice. Hello guys, I'm really sorry if the sound of the car engine is really annoying, but it's really cold so I need it on. I didn't start this vlog this morning or like introduce it, mainly because it was like 7 a.m. and I did not want to speak. I think this is actually the first time I've spoken today. Basically today I decided, it's a Saturday, it's the 1st of November. We have had notoriously, that's not the right word. We've had terrible weather in Ireland for the last week, with wind and rain weather warnings both in Kerry and Dublin. So when I was at home at Kerry, it was rain warnings, and then I came up to Dublin, it's wind warnings. So, but today was going to be one of the first nice days before we go into another round of really bad weather. So I decided to come to Newgrange in Meath, County Meath, for the first time. I've never been here before, so I will have shown you kind of clips and things going earlier. Newgrange, if you don't know Ireland or Irish history, obviously I'm not going to be able to sum it up particularly well or succinctly, but Newgrange is a World Heritage Site, a UNESCO World Heritage Site of a Neolithic passage tomb that is older than Stonehenge and older than the pyramids in Giza. So I had never been, which is wild because Ireland's such a small country, it's easy to visit these places, but I think as Irish people we're a little bit complacent about our own history. I think a lot of it's almost a cultural psyche that so much of the recent history in recent centuries has been traumatic, so we tend to focus on what we're doing now, rather than what patterns of the past we're repeating, what we're neglecting, things like that. My main reason for coming was because I'm trying, and I don't even know if I should say this because it mightn't work out, but at the same time it'll be fun, is I'm trying to write a middle grade novel at the moment, and it's partially set near Newgrange, but I had never been to Newgrange. I had read about it, heard about it. It's one of those things that as people I think we slightly take for granted. I imagine it might be similar to people who live near Stonehenge, where you're kind of like, I pass that every day, it's no big deal. But it is a big deal, it's a really big deal. So I booked a ticket ages ago. It was really hard to get tickets, but because it's the 1st of November, it's closing for the winter months, or maybe until like February or March or something, on the 5th. So I got one of the last tickets to go on the tour and decided to use my Saturday to be here for 9 a.m, bright and early, to drive down from Dublin to go on the tour. It was so amazing. I'll talk about it maybe a little bit more later, but basically I'm in the car park at the moment after the Newgrange tour. I had a coffee, had a sit, bought some postcards that I'll put in a frame like I always do. And basically I have the option of driving back to Dublin, home, and kind of honestly going to bed and having a rest for the rest of my day, because I do need to rest this weekend, I'm really tired. Or I'm thinking, I've already made up my mind, I'm doing this. I'm gonna go to the Hill of Tara. So the Hill of Tara and Tara in general is also in Meath. It's another very famous historical and mythological site in Ireland that I suppose was considered the seat of power for kings in Ireland, and it's where High Kings of Ireland would have been crowned and that kind of thing. But there is the coronation stone there that I would like to see, and I think I'm gonna go, even though I know it's gonna be such a walk once I park. It's an extra drive and a walk, and I'm tired, but the weather is so good. It's such a lovely day. It's freezing. It is freezing, but I have gloves and everything like that, but I wonder if I'll get another really nice crisp day like this in winter, where I'm already kind of basically nearby. It's an extra half an hour away, so I'm going to do that, and I'm thinking about it in terms of like Taylor Swift's All Too Well 10-minute version song, and thinking that's going to take me 3 All Too Wells to get there. That's fine. I can do that. And actually I'm going to just listen to All Too Well 3 times to get there. And I'm also going to have an energy drink, which I don't like to do that often, but I'm going to have an energy drink as well, so that when I get there I can actually do the walk. I could do the walk anyway, but I mean do the walk and not feel like my bones are, I don't know, disintegrating inside of my muscles. And do that. But I will chat to you again when I get to the Hill of Tara. See you soon. Okay, so technically that took 3.5 All Too Wells to get here, to Tara, and I don't know why I was surprised, but the visitor centre for the Hill of Tara is closed until May, which is completely fair, and I wasn't surprised by that. But because of that, I had googled that it was just like an open field and you could just go and see the, I think, Lia Fall. That's how I've been saying it in my head. I feel like that's really bad Irish. The coronation stone of kings in Ireland. But there were so many people here, and like almost making like a procession to Tara, so which was really, really cool actually. So I think it was kind of perfect actually, because if you can't hear or see, it is pouring right now, but I got to see the Hill of Tara, walk all around it, and I turned around from standing next to the stone and saw the most beautiful rainbow coming out from between the clouds. And I had just made it back to, I suppose there's a church near the bottom of the Hill of Tara, a churchyard, and it started hailstoning so badly. And it is cold. I just didn't realise it was cold enough for hailstone, but it is.
yeah, it started hailstoning so badly. So I hid under a tree, but I just not loved specifically being caught in the hailstone, but it was so, I don't know, there's just something deeply grounding about being in a place where there is nothing but history. And I don't mean history in terms of buildings and things like that, like castles or whatever, but I mean just the history of one's imagination of the people who would have stood in that place beforehand, like these hills. And obviously there's the passage tombs, and there's more passage tombs under the earth and things, or burial tombs, I think. But so there is obviously physical evidence of history, but in the moment there, you're essentially in what could, if you removed all of the tourists, you removed me, if you removed the stone, I guess, would just look like any other rolling field in potentially the Midlands in Ireland-ish, or hilly area of Ireland. But instead it's this joint knowledge that it's of importance. And I just really loved it. And for some reason, the weather being so forceful one minute, calm the next, felt like it increased that grounding. But I am freezing. So I'm in the car, I'm waiting for my feet to warm up so I can use the pedals to drive and head home back to Dublin and go to bed for a little nap, because I had to be up early to drive here and things, after a week of kind of early starts at like 6 a.m. for work and things. So I'm gonna have a little nap, but I think I'll need a hot shower first, because I could feel my muscles and joints getting kind of locked in the cold, and you know, which I'm sure everyone was kind of the same. But for me, if I get kind of locked in one position and don't catch it or do something about it kind of soon, it can linger. So I'm gonna heat up. I'm gonna sit here and heat up and just, I don't know, breathe in the memories of it. I think I really enjoyed today. I really did. I'm also really glad I came by myself, which sounds bad, I guess, maybe, if depending on your view, but for me, I've noticed that if I don't always react to things like seeing, like I remember when my cousin took me to see like the London Eye and like Shakespeare's Globe and theatre in London and all of those things, and I was so overwhelmed and happy that day, but on the surface, I think he asked me if I'd even enjoyed the day, because I looked so monotone facially, in my tone, everything was so like, but actually it's because everything is so under the surface, which I know is an autistic thing, but I didn't know that at the time. I wasn't diagnosed, and also I don't think I would have given myself the space to react how I want to react. Instead, I would have been really annoyed that I caused him to question whether his generosity was appreciated. Whereas now I'm just like, oh, this is just how I am. But I'm even more like that when I'm on my own, which is a gift. So anyway, I'm just rambling. I'm gonna go now. Hello. Let's see how long I can maintain holding the camera like this. I feel odd ending the vlog about my trip to Newgrange and the Hill of Tara this way, but I'm ending it a couple of days later, so it's now Tuesday. I went on Saturday, and I didn't finish it, and the reason why was my health. Spoiler alert, it's always my health. Like, when's it not? But I felt strange not ending it, and I have loved the whole trip. Like, I loved it so much, but it feels odd not to be honest about kind of the tail end of it, and the realities of chronic illness and things. So just to walk you through, Saturday I was feeling pretty good. I think I mentioned at some point I got caught in a hailstorm in the Hill of Tara and was quite cold, and that was going to affect my muscles. But that wasn't a major deal, I don't think. Like, sorry, I'm going to have to keep swapping hands because my hand's going on. But I got to go home and I showered, and like that helped me warm up and things, and I felt pretty good. until that evening when I started to feel kind of like these dull aches in my muscles, which can be from exertion, but I won't lie, like the Hill of Tara and stuff, it wasn't a huge amount of walking, that I was kind of curious about it. So I did what I do, which is I went through my list of things and I had some salt, I took my electrolytes. Sometimes that's like what my muscles need, not steroid. But they improved. But when I woke up on Sunday, I woke up with the awareness of pain in my face, my bones in my face, huge amount of pain. And this is where I don't know how much is impacted by weather. We've had a huge kind of change in air pressure. The wet temperatures have dropped. It's extremely damp, and that always impacts my joints for reasons I don't know and I'm exploring. But I basically just felt a huge amount of pain in my head, and I also, these are looking back, hindsight, like things I should have seen as indicators leading to today, but I essentially felt like my muscles were broken into like little jigsaw pieces. Like I could very clearly feel the distinguishing part between each muscle in my back, like where they started, where they stopped, where they connected, because I could just feel like there was cement in between all of those areas. It's kind of the only way I can describe it. So I always feel on those days like I'm in a like kids cartoon movie, like almost animatronic, like moving in sections. Like it's, no part of me is cohesive when I feel like that. So that was a struggle. Sunday though, I took it pretty handy. I cancelled plans. I had plans, I cancelled them. I didn't do any writing, I'm pretty sure I did nothing. I had the beginning of a migraine, my left temple migraine, which is usually, I was gonna say one of two things, adrenals or hormones, but like the adrenals are hormone axis, so it's all pituitary really. But it's always, for some reason for me, it's always my left temple indicates there's something wrong. So I was updosing by my medication. Updosing, if you're not aware, with Addison's disease or adrenal insufficiency, essentially means taking a small additional dose of steroid to help you fight like a flu, deal with stress, etc. So I didn't know particularly why I was needing to updose, but I obviously was, and that's not really something you can ignore. So I spent Sunday pretty much relaxing. I think I did some reading and that was about as much, but I couldn't, like my brain wouldn't stick to anything. I couldn't get it to keep to anything. And then Monday, I'm very fortunate, I work from home on Mondays, so I suppose it's a slower start to the week in the sense that I don't have to do the commute into Dublin city centre. I don't have to like make a lunch for the next day, like and pack it and bring it and all those kind of like executive function tasks, if that makes sense. So Monday's a hard one to gauge because I got a lot of rest on Sunday and then was able to not have to get up at like 6 on Monday. I didn't feel too bad. I actually felt pretty good yesterday, I would have said. However, and this is where I'm trying to view it as important to include this clip, but I feel very frustrated with myself, because this is where having ADHD and being autistic and having a chronic illness that requires consistency is a real problem, or a real complication, because I felt yesterday like I had lots of energy, like I was so productive, I was getting stuff done. It was one of those days where I really felt like my ADHD medication was hitting, to be honest. I knew my temperature was higher in my body, not like in the sense of a fever, but in my body I could feel I was sweating more. But genuinely I was like racing around the place getting so much done because I was like, oh my god, I'm so focused. I love these days, that's amazing, getting so much work done, so much PhD stuff done, like lots of stuff done. But I should have paid, here's what I should have paid attention to. I should have paid attention to the fact that my temperature was higher. I was running hot, very, very hot. But I also should have paid attention to the fact that there was no amount of like water or like hydration that was enough for me, and that was probably a problem. And I also should have paid attention to the context of the previous day where I had been struggling, and rather than immediately assuming, wow, I've bounced back so well, god, am I great, which I didn't actually explicitly think, but I also did just go about my day. So I went to the gym. I didn't do a massive workout. I was still there for an hour though, and I still sweated enough to have to wash my hair, so that's how I gauge how much I sweated in the gym. And I knew afterwards, I thought my muscles felt quite tired, even though I would have thought yesterday, I was like, I really ate well, I've managed this well, and I've got so much done. This is where having such isolated thinking is difficult, because I have such compartmentalized factions of my life in my head to cope. Like, I have this chronic illness, and then I have my work, and then I have my neurodiversity, and then I have writing. I never link them up in my head by instinct. I would like to, but I don't have that instinct, and I'm starting to wonder if I'll ever have that instinct. But I essentially should not have done the gym, but I went home and had a shower, and that was really nice. But I did not get to sleep. Like, I was wired yesterday, unnaturally so, in a way that I don't think is ADHD. Like, I don't know, probably some kind of circadian rhythm imbalance to do with this whole adrenal thing. But basically I got about 5 hours sleep, and it was poor sleep because, well, I'm assuming it was poor sleep because I had such bad dreams that I woke up crying. So I don't know what they were. Like, I don't remember the dreams. I remember waking up crying. And once again, because I woke up and had to get up for work and things at like 6 a.m. and was like, okay, time to get ready, put in my contacts, do my makeup, get out the door kind of a thing. I just fall into routine without looking. I never link up the threads of like the different areas of my life, including my sleep life. How much cortisol did I burn throughout the night? If those dreams were causing me such stress that I woke up with my muscles clenching and my face swollen with crying. Instead, I was like, well, I'm in work mode now, so everything that has come before is separate. Which is it's incredibly frustrating to be this way, I won't lie to you. It feels very narrow-minded and short-sighted, and I have tried so many ways to think differently, to see the world differently, and I know it's to do with being neurodivergent in the way that I am, that this is how I have coped as well traditionally with being ill. Like, at the end of the day, I've been ill and seeking like answers for being ill since I was 18. So like, I think you have to at some point develop a coping mechanism if you are someone who's going to illogically push through at times, you know, like doing college, having a job, all those things. So anyway, all that to say is I did get up and I did think that I felt like my face didn't hurt the same way as it did on the Sunday, but it did feel like someone had slashed this side of my face, and that nerve along here was swollen, which I thought at first might just be, okay, well, maybe I have a sinus infection or something because the weather, like, it's gotten really damp. A lot of people are quite sick. So when I got up, I took a decongestant, and sometimes that really helps. That didn't help. And it was ultimately then, by the time I was on the Luas, like the tram in Dublin to get into work, I was really aware, like I was sore. Like, I was sore in my left temple, and I thought I was in a bit of bother. But this is where this story is so similar to my adrenal crisis in March 2024, where it took me being on the Luas and going, I think I'm in trouble, you know, to realise, am I in trouble? And I was so conscious that I did not, obviously some part of me has learned from that experience, because I just felt such a horror in my head. I was like, wait, what's happening? I need to be more aware. I can't let this go on. What's wrong? So I got into work and I was finding the lights were hurting my eyes, and it's so hard to describe what is essentially low cortisol. It feels like a general disintegration of the body bit by bit. Because when you think about cement, bricks, stone walls breaking apart, a breakage has to happen before they crumble altogether. It starts with slow but deep fracturing, which feels like this pain. The fracturing in me feels like this pain in my joints and my muscles, and generally having a slow brain fog. It feels like it's getting to a crumbly point when it's like my eyes are super dry and my mouth is dry and I'm starting to feel nauseous. This time was different to the crisis in March 24, thankfully, because I caught it much earlier. Like, by the time I started, like, if I remember right, in March 2024, I think I took my additional dose of meds and things like that. at maybe like 10 a.m. when I'd been in work and been in bother from like 7 and things, because it took me so long to catch what was going on. Whereas this time I took all of that immediately. I took some Imodium in case I got diarrhea, like, which is just a reality of things, that if you are basically you need to do anything to keep your steroids in your body, and I so didn't want to have to go to hospital. I won't lie to you. I absolutely would have, you know, but I didn't want to. So instead I went into a dark room in work, sat down, took my extra fluids, my extra like minerals, waited for my extra extremely strong up dose compared to my regular small up doses to see if that would hit, to see if I would keep it down. The nausea went away. My face pain seemed to relax a good bit. I also experienced at the same time quite a lot of neurological symptoms. I've mentioned this in the past and alluded to this in the past, but it is something I'm exploring with 2 neurologists at the moment. We're having a good time. They're not having a good time with me, but where I'm having a lot of neurological symptoms and have done since over a year ago, but they flare and they go away, and they include things like a lot of spasticity and spasms in my muscle. I have some spinal straightening in my neck joints, even though my joints themselves look really healthy on scans. There's apparently like evidence in my spine of like just basically like consistent spasming over time and tightness of muscles. I have a lot of numbness that comes and goes. I find it hard to grip pens. I find it hard to sometimes like put my hands out flat. Like my hands tend to have to be like this on a good day. Like having them out like that is so hard and takes all of the focus, because they're baseline comfort. Like I sleep with my hands like this, like little contractures. I say contractures, they remind me of my nan's hands in the nursing home. And I am looking into this and all of that, so I don't really want to get into it majorly, because I don't think it's something that is very helpful to put on the internet, in the sense of like a diagnostic process for something, or an exploratory diagnostic process, is so sensitive that I find it to be maybe not that helpful to share at this stage. It's obviously something I'll happily talk about in the future at some point, most likely, but that's all that to say is when this adrenal stuff was going on, like my adrenal insufficiency was kicking off, those neurological symptoms kind of ramped up. So I did at the same time, along with my extra dose, I took a muscle relaxant, which you know, I've talked to my doctors about the integration of all these interactions of all these medications and things, because I felt like I've noticed when I'm spasming, I presume it's putting a lot of stress on my body, because they're full body rolls. Like they're very distressing. They're very distressing when they're like that. But I essentially assume when those are happening, I'm probably using any extra cortisol I have. I'm probably then pumping more adrenaline, which is causing me to sweat more, which means I'm losing the minerals, and it becomes like a big cyclical thing. So even then, though this felt and was very much an adrenal insufficiency problem rather than a core neurological problem, I felt like the neurological symptoms flaring in reaction to the adrenal scenario were going to make the adrenal scenario worse. And this could spiral, you know, kind of fairly negatively, which just didn't want to happen. So I basically, I think that made a big difference, because my body was able to relax. The core adrenal insufficiency symptoms, like that dryness in your body, that general, it's not a malaise, like it's not a level of fatigue, because you are fatigued, but it's like you just feel out of touch, like you're floating a little bit, but not in the way of like where you might dissociate in terms of your mental health, where instead you feel it very much it feels like a full body floating almost. Like you're very grounded by these symptoms, but you're simultaneously not with it either. All of those improved fairly well, I think, because I caught it so early, but I still felt it was appropriate to go home. I could not work. I've learned from not resting, so I love that. I've learned from not resting. Me, who is active evidence of not resting yesterday and going to the gym. But anyway, so I've slept, and I think you can tell, like, I was like, these get so blue when my adrenals are struggling, and I don't feel unwell otherwise. Like I don't feel like I have a flu. I sneezed there, to be fair. But I don't feel like I have a flu or a head cold in any other way. And my throat is fine, everything feels fine. So I just don't know what's caused this, but I also am so beyond looking for the whys, really, of a thing, because I'm like, okay, the whys have got me nowhere in those moments of questioning. But basically all of this whole meander, if you even made it to the end of this, was to say that it is, if you are someone who experiences chronic illness but is trying to do nice things, live your life, be who you want to be, like, you know, like if you want to be someone who goes to Newgrange and the Hill of Tara on a random Saturday by yourself, or you want to be whoever, and then you hit these roadblocks and you feel inherently frustrated, I don't have an answer for you, but I just want to say I get it. I get it. Like, I'm 31 and I don't know what the future looks like. I don't know what any of this looks like, but I get it. And for now, I think the community of knowing that this isn't an isolated experience is going to have to be enough for me. And I hope it can be temporarily enough for you and we'll get through this. But I felt like it was important to show the kind of realistic end to that lovely kind of day on Saturday. So yeah, this section is going to be longer than the whole Newgrange and Hill of Tara section, but alas, that is what it is. Okay, I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you for watching. If you made it to the end of the video, please subscribe. No one has made it to the end of this video and this ramble. But I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.
Hi guys, I'm back again because I didn't film an outro properly for this video. I meant to at the time, but as you will remember when I filmed this vlog, and in the last clip you'll see I was unwell and feeling quite unwell and feeling a little bit bewildered as to why. I guess I felt really strange because I felt like I had mistimed my Addison's disease medication. I wanted to add this little clip to say I did eventually figure out what was happening. And it's so obvious now I think about it, like it's so appallingly obvious. But essentially what had happened the weekend before this, I think, or the week of this vlog, was that our clocks changed, the time changed, and we changed an hour in time, which means my circadian rhythm changed, which means I'm meant to manage the time change by changing and altering my medication. And when I take my medication, I didn't. Nearly 3 years into Addison's disease and I didn't think to do that. I think it's probably a testament to how well I've felt over the last few years. I say the last few years, last year, let's not get too excited, by the fact that I guess didn't even think of it as an issue because I have been feeling so well. Whereas when you're feeling unwell consistently, you're kind of having to micromanage every slight fluctuation or interaction of the body, you know? So I think the time change came and went just like that for me, and I just kept going until I was slowly in a kind of, I suppose, a really slow form of jet lag that culminated in this weekend. So I left in all the clips of me wondering what was happening because it's really realistic for me to not know what's going on. A lot of the time it can be easily linked to something like an immediate stressor, or coming down with a flu or a chest infection or something like that. Something tangible. Sometimes it isn't as tangible, and that's usually when it's a more psychological kind of upset that I didn't realise was weighing on me for a few days. However, in this day, it definitely was linked to the time change. I think I found out about that because I saw someone's Facebook post in the Facebook groups about adrenal insufficiency saying, oh, is anyone else a little bit messed up because of the time change? And it's like it clicked and I was like, oh, I've been taking, like, I wake up at 3:45 every morning to take a small tiny dose because I have to be up at 6 for work, and that's when your circadian rhythm starts kind of really amping up, your cortisol starts rising and things, and otherwise I find it really hard to get out of bed. And instead I have been late consistently on everything for about a week and I didn't notice. So yeah, I just want to add in that little mystery, like resolve of the mystery, and say that I suppose this is not the vlog I wanted to make in terms of like, it was beautiful having a gorgeous day out, but in reality there's no gorgeous day out where health isn't a consideration or isn't a huge part of it. And that's just reality, I suppose, for so many of us, and I'm sure so many of us understand. But I'd be interested to know if anyone else has ever made any kind of, like, I suppose, little mistake with their medication, not even with Addison's, just in general, where you just afterwards, when it clicks, you just realise, okay, I'm really not as adept at this whole thing as I thought. So yeah, here we are. I'm keeping an eye out, because I'm uploading this months later, but I'm keeping an eye out for the next time change, and I'm going to be so on it. I'm going to be so on it. Yeah, I will talk to you guys soon. I really hope you enjoyed, and take care of yourselves, okay?